I stared at my laptop screen, watching my sister-in-law unveil my dreams to the world. My hands trembled as Fiona's perfectly rehearsed pitch echoed through the live stream, presenting my innovative wellness app concept as her own creation. The same concept I'd shared with her over coffee just 6 weeks ago. I'm Thea, and until today I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. I was wrong. And that's why Mindful Me isn't just another wellness app. Fiona's voice rang out, crystal clear through my speakers. It's a revolutionary approach to mental health tracking using AI-driven insights. My words, my exact words. The chat sidebar exploded with praise. Investors were already throwing around 7-figure numbers. Behind Fiona, my brother Warren stood beaming, his hand placed proudly on his wife's shoulder. The same brother who'd helped me brainstorm this idea during countless late-night calls. "You need to see this," I texted Elena, my best friend since college. She replied instantly, "Already watching. I'm coming over. Don't do anything stupid." The launch continued, and with each feature Fiona revealed, my stomach twisted tighter. The personalized meditation algorithms, the mood pattern recognition, the social support networks, everything I'd poured my heart into for the past year, stripped away in a single afternoon. Eleanor arrived 20 minutes later, letting herself in with her spare key. She found me still frozen in front of my laptop. "That manipulative witch," Eleanor said, dropping her bag and rushing to hug me. "Have you called Warren? He's not answering." I pulled up my phone, showing her the string of unanswered messages. "He knows exactly what they did." "We should call your dad," Elena suggested, pacing my living room. "Graham needs to know what his precious daughter-in-law really is." I shook my head. "Dad's probably watching the stream right now, bursting with pride. You know how he's always favoured Warren's business ventures over mine." My phone buzzed. A text from Fiona. "Hope you caught the launch. Would love your feedback. Family dinner this Sunday?" "The audacity," Elena whispered, reading over my shoulder. "She's not even trying to hide it." I stood up abruptly, startling my friend. "I need air." Grabbing my jacket, I headed for the door. "Where are you going?" "For a walk." "I need to think." "Thea, wait!" But I was already out the door, power walking through my neighbourhood as the autumn wind whipped at my face. 6 weeks ago, Fiona had shown up at my apartment, all smiles and sisterly concern. "You've been so distant lately," she'd said, settling onto my couch. "Warren's worried about you." I'd been distant because I was working, building, creating, and like an idiot, I'd let her in. "I'm actually excited about something," I'd told her, pulling up my prototype designs. "It's a wellness app, but different from anything on the market." Fiona had leaned in, eyes wide with interest. "Tell me everything." So I did. I showed her the mock-ups, the user flow diagrams, the market research. I explained how my experience with anxiety had inspired the idea, how I wanted to help others find their path to mental wellness. "This is incredible," she'd gushed. "Have you shown it to any investors yet?" "Not yet. I want it to be perfect first." "Smart," she'd nodded. "Take your time. The right moment will come." The right moment came all right. For her. My phone buzzed again. Warren this time. "We need to talk. It's not what you think." I laughed out loud, startling a nearby dog walker. Not what I think? I watched him stand on that stage, supporting his wife as she stole my future. Another buzz. A news notification? Tech startup Mindful Me secures $2 million in seed funding following revolutionary product launch. That's when something inside me snapped. The hurt and betrayal crystallized into something harder, sharper. They thought they could just take what was mine and get away with it. I pulled up my contact list, scrolling until I found the number for Xavier Holmes, a successful tech entrepreneur I'd met at a conference last year. He'd given me his card, told me to reach out if I ever needed guidance. Well, I needed something now, but it wasn't guidance. The phone rang 3 times before he answered. "Xavier, this is Thea Nichols. We met at Tech Forward last year." I took a deep breath. "I have a situation, and I think you're exactly the person who can help me fix it." "I'm listening," he replied. Looking up at the darkening sky, I felt a smile spread across my face. Fiona and Warren thought they'd won, but they had no idea what was coming. Sometimes karma needs a little push, and I was ready to start pushing. "How about we meet for coffee tomorrow?" I suggested. "I have quite a story to tell you." The coffee shop buzzed with morning energy as I spotted Xavier at a corner table, his attention fixed on a laptop screen. He looked exactly as I remembered, sharp, focused, with that quiet confidence successful people seem to radiate. "Thanks for meeting me," I said, sliding into the seat across from him. He closed his laptop. "Your voice on the phone yesterday. I've heard that tone before. Someone stole your idea, didn't they?" I blinked, taken aback by his directness. "How did you—" "Because I've been there." He leaned forward, his expression serious. "Tell me everything." So I did. I pulled out my tablet, showing him my original designs, timestamps, email trails, everything that proved I'd developed Mindful Me months before Fiona's launch. "The worst part?" I said, pulling up the launch video. "Watch this pitch. Those are my exact words, my exact examples." Xavier studied the video, his frown deepening. "Your sister-in-law's got nerve, I'll give her that. But there's something off about their technical implementation." "What do you mean?" He pointed to a specific feature demonstration. "See this anxiety prediction algorithm they're showcasing? It's shallow. They rushed this to market without fully understanding the underlying technology. Because they stole the concept but couldn't replicate the depth," I realized. "Exactly." Xavier sat back, a glint in his eye. "You know what this means? That they're vulnerable? Better," he smiled. "It means we can build something superior. Something that makes their version look like a cheap knockoff." The barista arrived with our coffees, giving me a moment to process his words. Look, Thea. I've been looking to invest in mental health tech for months. Nothing's impressed me until now." He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of market research reports. "The concept you developed? It's solid. But with my resources and your innovation, we could make it extraordinary." My heart raced. "You want to partner with me? I want to help you reclaim what's yours and make it better than they could ever imagine." He paused, studying my reaction. "But I need to know. Is this about revenge, or are you truly passionate about this project?" "Both," I admitted. "I want justice, yes. But this app, it's personal. I developed it because I struggled with anxiety for years. I know exactly what users need because I was that user." Xavier nodded slowly. "That's what I wanted to hear. Revenge alone isn't sustainable. Passion is." "So, what's our first move?" "First, we document everything. Every email, every design file, every conversation you had about this project. Then—" He was interrupted by my phone buzzing. Warren's face flashed on my screen. I declined the call. "Family complications?" Xavier asked. "My brother's trying to damage control. He left 3 voicemails yesterday about how it's all a misunderstanding." "And what does your gut tell you?" I thought about Warren's face during the launch, his proud smile as Fiona presented my work. That he knew exactly what they were doing. "Then trust that instinct." Xavier pulled out a business card, writing something on the back. "This is my private number. Call me tonight. I'll have my legal team review your documentation." As we stood to leave, he added, "One more thing. Your sister-in-law's launch? It's got holes. Big ones. The kind that investors notice eventually." "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we take our time. Build something bulletproof while they rush to deliver on promises they can't keep." His smile turned slightly wicked. "Sometimes the best revenge is letting people dig their own graves." Walking home, I felt lighter than I had in days. Xavier was right. Fiona and Warren had stolen my concept, but they couldn't steal my understanding of it. They were building a facade. I could build the real thing. My phone buzzed again. A text from Eleanor. "How did the meeting go?" I smiled, typing back. "Better than I could have imagined. Call you tonight with details." Another message popped up, this one from Fiona. "You're still coming to Sunday dinner, right? Dad's looking forward to hearing about my launch." My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to decline, to avoid seeing their smug faces. But Xavier's words echoed in my mind. Let them dig their own graves. Wouldn't miss it, I replied, adding a smiley emoji for good measure. Let them think I was defeated. Let them think I'd accepted their betrayal. Meanwhile, I'd be building something that would make their stolen version look like a child's drawing next to a masterpiece. I pulled up Xavier's contact and saved his number, adding a note. Meeting tomorrow 9 a.m. Bring technical requirements. Game on, dear family. Game on. Sunday dinner at my father's house felt like walking into a trap. The moment I stepped through the door, the scent of Mum's old pot roast recipe hit me. Dad's passive-aggressive way of reminding us all what we'd lost when she passed. There's my girl. Dad pulled me into a hug. Have you seen the news? Your sister-in-law's making waves in the tech world. I heard, I managed, catching Warren's eye over Dad's shoulder. My brother quickly looked away, suddenly very interested in his wine glass. Fiona swept into the room wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Thea, I was worried you wouldn't come. She air-kissed my cheek. We have so much to celebrate. Wouldn't dream of missing it, I replied, matching her fake enthusiasm. Dad ushered us to the dining room, where he'd set out the good china, the set Mom only used for Christmas. Warren, pour your sister some wine. Fiona, tell us more about the investors' response. As Fiona launched into her rehearsed speech about market penetration and user acquisition, I watched Warren's hands shake slightly as he filled my glass. Something was off about his behaviour. The Series A funding is practically guaranteed, Fiona was saying, though we're facing some unexpected technical challenges. Oh, I couldn't help myself. What kind of challenges? Warren's head snapped up. Fiona's smile flickered for just a moment. Nothing major, just typical startup growing pains. Speaking of startups, Dad cut in. Thea, whatever happened to that app idea you were working on? The wellness thing? The room went deadly quiet. I took a long sip of wine, watching Fiona's perfectly manicured fingers tighten around her fork. Actually, I'm still developing it, I said carefully, with some interesting new features. Warren coughed, wine splattering on the white tablecloth. New features? Amazing what you can do with the right backing. I turned to Dad. Did I mention I'm partnering with Xavier Holmes? The sound of Fiona's fork clattering against her plate was deeply satisfying. Xavier Holmes? Dad's eyebrows shot up. The tech mogul? Warren, isn't he one of your competitors? Former competitor, Warren muttered. We had some dealings. That was interesting. I filed that information away for later. Enough business talk, Fiona interrupted, her voice slightly higher than usual. Dad, tell us about your golf tournament. As Dad launched into a detailed description of his putting technique, I excused myself to use the bathroom. In the hallway, I noticed Warren's office door slightly ajar. A quick glance showed everyone still engaged in Dad's story. Inside Warren's office, I quickly scanned his desk. A stack of papers caught my eye. Bank statements. As I leafed through them, my heart started racing. Multiple transfers to offshore accounts, all dated just before Fiona's launch. What are you doing? I spun around. Warren stood in the doorway, his face pale. Funny thing about betrayal, I said quietly. It makes you curious about motivation. How much did you need, Warren? How deep in debt were you? You don't understand. Then explain it to me. I held up the statements. Explain why my big brother, who used to protect me from playground bullies, helped his wife steal my life's work. He closed the door behind him. The casino debts were killing me. Fiona found out, threatened to leave. When you showed her your app, he ran a hand through his hair. It was an opportunity. A way out. A way out? I laughed bitterly. You could have come to me. I would have helped you. With what money? You put everything into developing that app. With trust, Warren. With family loyalty. Remember those? Steps creaked in the hallway. Warren quickly moved away from me. Everything okay in here? Fiona's head appeared around the door. Her eyes darted between us, then to the papers in my hand. Just catching up, I smiled, sliding the statements into my purse. Shall we have dessert? Back at the dinner table, I watched them more closely. Fiona's constant glances at her phone, Warren's nervous fidgeting, the way they barely looked at each other. They weren't just dealing with technical difficulties, they were unraveling. "Dad," I said as I was leaving, "dinner was wonderful. Next time, let me host. I'm working on something special." Fiona's eyes narrowed. She knew a threat when she heard one. In my car, I immediately called Xavier. "You were right about Warren," I said. "He's got gambling debts. They needed a quick success to stay afloat." "Perfect," Xavier replied. "Desperate people make mistakes. How soon can you meet? There's something you need to see." I started the engine, smiling as I watched Fiona and Warren argue in silhouette behind the living room curtains. "I'm on my way." Xavier's office overlooked the city skyline, all glass and modern angles. He stood at a whiteboard covered in flowcharts and coding notes, while I sat surrounded by prototype sketches. "See this?" He pointed to a complex diagram. "Your original anxiety prediction algorithm. We've enhanced it with machine learning capabilities that Fiona's team can't possibly replicate." "Because they don't understand the foundational concept," I realized, scanning the improvements. "Exactly. But that's not why I called you here." He grabbed his tablet, pulling up a news article. "Meet Hannah. She's a tech journalist who's been investigating startup fraud cases." A young woman's professional headshot smiled back at me. And she's very interested in companies that make big promises but can't deliver." Xavier's smile turned predatory, especially when those companies have suspicious funding patterns. My phone buzzed. Eleanor calling. "Sorry, I should take this." "Thea!" Eleanor's voice was urgent. "You need to check TechCrunch right now. Fiona's company just announced a major partnership." I quickly pulled up the article, my stomach dropping. "They're partnering with Mindspace Technologies?" "That's impossible. They're the biggest mental health platform in the market." Xavier leaned over my shoulder reading. "This is desperate. They're trying to legitimize themselves before anyone notices the cracks." "Can they pull it off?" "Not with what I just found." He pulled up another screen showing lines of code. "Your sister-in-law's team tried to patch their system yesterday. They left their development environment exposed." I stared at the screen, my tech background kicking in. "These implementations, they're completely unstable. And illegal in 3 states due to privacy regulations they clearly don't understand." Xavier handed me a coffee. "We need to move faster. How's our development timeline?" I pulled up our project schedule. "The core features are almost ready for testing, but Eleanor's been warning me about moving too quickly with the revenge plan." "Call her. Get her here. We need all perspectives on this." 30 minutes later, Eleanor paced the office, her legal background showing in every sharp question. "You realize," she said, "that if you push them into a corner, they might retaliate. Warren knows all your weak spots, Thea." "They're already cornered," I replied. "That Mindspace deal? It's a Hail Mary pass. They're drowning and they know it." A knock at the door interrupted us. Hannah, the journalist, walked in with a notebook and determined expression. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, sitting down. "I've been following Mindful Me's launch with interest. Their technical claims don't add up." "What kind of story are you writing?" Eleanor asked, lawyer mode activated. Hannah smiled. "One about innovation, theft, and the dangers of rushing to market with stolen technology. But I need sources." Xavier nodded at me. "Show her." I pulled out my original documentation, development logs, and the evidence from Warren's office. Hannah's eyes widened as she took notes. "This is better than I expected," she said. "But why come forward now?" "Because people trust apps like this with their mental health data," I replied. "Rushing an unstable product to market isn't just unethical, it's dangerous." Eleanor touched my arm. "Are you sure about this? It'll destroy your relationship with Warren completely." "Warren destroyed that relationship when he chose Fiona's scheme over his own sister." I turned to Hannah. "What do you need from me?" "On-record interviews, technical documentation, and," she paused, "access to your new development project. I want to compare the approaches." Xavier stepped in. "We can arrange that, with proper NDAs in place. When would this story run?" "Give me 2 weeks to verify everything. Then we go live." Hannah packed up her notebook. "Fair warning, This will get messy. After she left, Elena hugged me tightly. I hope you know what you're doing. Trust me, I said, watching Xavier pull up our project timeline. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about doing the right thing. My phone lit up with a text from Warren. We need to talk. Fiona doesn't know I'm messaging you. Ignore it, Xavier advised, studying my expression. He's panicking because the Mindspace deal isn't what it seems. My sources say they're already having integration issues. I stared at the message, remembering Warren's confession about his gambling debts. What if we offered him a way out? A chance to come clean? Eleanor and Xavier exchanged looks. That's either brilliant or terrible, Eleanor said. Which is pretty much your brand at this point. I started typing a response to Warren. Tomorrow noon, the cafe where we used to meet after school. Come alone. Whatever he says, Xavier warned, remember, we launch in 3 weeks, with or without his confession. I nodded, watching the 3 dots appear as Warren typed his response. The game was changing, and I needed to know if my brother would choose redemption or go down with Fiona's ship. The reply came, I'll be there. There's something you need to know. The cafe looked exactly the same as it had 15 years ago, when Warren and I would share milkshakes and dream about changing the world. Now, watching my brother slump into the seat across from me, he looked like a man whose world was crumbling. You look terrible, I said, pushing a coffee toward him. Fiona's losing it. He glanced around nervously. The Mindspace deal. It's falling apart. They did a technical audit yesterday. And found out your product doesn't work as advertised. He winced. Worse, they found security holes that could expose user data, private mental health information, Thea. We're talking potential lawsuits. Jesus, Warren. I leaned back, letting that sink in. How did you let it get this far? Fiona insisted we could fix it post-launch, said we just needed to get to market first. He ran his hands through his disheveled hair. But the developers can't patch it fast enough. And now what? Now she's talking about selling user data to cover our losses. His voice cracked. I can't be part of that, Thea. These are people's private struggles we're talking about. My phone buzzed. A text from Xavier. Hannah's story drops tomorrow. Last chance to add Warren's statement. Warren noticed my expression. What was that? Your chance to make this right. I showed him the text. A tech journalist is running an exposé tomorrow. You can either be the whistleblower who tried to stop this, or go down with Fiona's ship. She'll destroy me. She's already destroying you. I pulled out my laptop, opening a document. Look at yourself, Warren. The gambling, the lies, the fraud. This isn't you. His hands shook as he reached for his coffee. The Mindspace executives are meeting with Fiona this afternoon. When they pull out... It gets worse, I said, turning my laptop to show him a news alert. Your main investor just launched an internal audit. The colour drained from his face. How did you... I didn't. Your house of cards is collapsing on its own. I opened a new document. Start typing, Warren. Tell the truth while you still can. For a moment I thought he'd refuse. Then his shoulders sagged and he pulled the laptop closer. As he typed, my phone lit up with messages. Eleanor. Mindspace PR just scheduled an emergency press conference for 5 p.m. Xavier. Our launch preparations are ready. Say the word. Hannah. Story's locked. Adding Warren's statement if you get it in an hour. Warren pushed the laptop back, his confession complete. What happens now? Now you go home, pack a bag, and get ready for tomorrow's storm. I scanned his statement quickly. And Warren? Call Dad tonight. He should hear this from you first. He'll never forgive me. Maybe not, but he deserves the truth. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Mindspace Technologies terminates partnership with mental health startup MindfulMe amid technical concerns. Warren's phone exploded with messages. It's Fiona. She's not taking it well. I watched my brother's face as he read the messages, seeing the moment he finally chose his path. I need to go to the police, he said quietly. The things she's suggesting we do with user data, it's criminal. I'll go with you. He shook his head. No, I got myself into this. I need to face it alone. He stood up, looking older than his years. I'm sorry, Thea, for everything. I know. After he left, I forwarded his statement to Hannah and called Xavier. Warren just threw Fiona under the bus, I said. It's about to get ugly. Perfect timing. Our beta testing results just came in. We're ready to launch whenever you are. I watched through the cafe window as Warren walked to his car, shoulders straight for the first time in weeks. Tomorrow, after Hannah's story breaks, we show the world what this app was always meant to be. And Fiona? She made her choice. I gathered my things, leaving cash for the coffees. Let's see how she handles the consequences. Outside, dark clouds gathered overhead. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Fiona. Whatever you're doing, stop it now. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I smiled, thinking of Warren's detailed confession sitting in Hannah's inbox, the Mindspace executive's damning audit, and our perfected app waiting to launch. Actually, I typed back, I think I do. Walking to my car, I felt surprisingly calm. Tomorrow everything would change. Warren would face his demons, Fiona would face justice, and I would finally reclaim what was stolen from me. Let the storm come. I was ready. Hannah's story broke at 6 a.m. By 6:05, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. I ignored the calls, watching the chaos unfold from Xavier's office as we prepared for our own announcement. Look at these numbers, Elena said, scrolling through her tablet. Mindful Me's stock is in freefall. Their investors are jumping ship. Xavier handed me a coffee. Warren's statement is trending. Whistleblower exposes tech startup fraud. It's everywhere. My phone lit up again. Dad calling for the 5th time. This time I answered. Is it true? His voice sounded older, broken. Did Warren really? Yes, Dad, all of it. And Fiona. A notification popped up on the office TV. Breaking news. Mindful Me CEO, Fiona, under investigation for data privacy violations. Turn it up, I called to Eleanor. The news anchor's voice filled the room. Sources say the startup's CEO attempted to sell sensitive mental health data to third-party advertisers when facing financial difficulties. The FBI's cybercrime division is... I'm watching it now, Dad said quietly. I should have seen it. Should have asked more questions. Dad, no, let me finish. I was so proud of Warren's success, so quick to dismiss your work. I'm sorry, Thea. Eleanor touched my arm, pointing to her watch. We had 20 minutes until our press conference. Dad, I have to go, but come by tonight. There's something I want to show you. After hanging up, I checked my messages. One from Warren. Just finished at the police station. Fiona's lawyers are trying to pin everything on me, but I saved the emails. Smart man, Xavier commented, reading over my shoulder. Finally chose the right side. Elena straightened my jacket. You ready for this? Ready to show the world what this app should have been. Been ready for weeks. We headed to the conference room where journalists were gathering. Through the glass, I spotted Hannah in the front row, smiling knowingly. My phone buzzed one last time, Fiona calling. Against my better judgment, I answered. You think you've won? Her voice was pure venom. I still have investors. I can still fix this. No, Fiona, you really can't. I built this company. You stole this company, I cut in, and in 10 minutes I'm going to show everyone exactly how badly you butchered my original concept. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. Xavier gave me the signal. It was time. Walking onto the stage felt like stepping into sunlight after a long darkness. Camera flashes erupted as I took my place at the podium. Good morning, I began. My name is Thea, and I'm here to talk about mental health, technology, and doing things the right way. The presentation flowed perfectly. Every feature demonstration showed exactly how far we'd evolved beyond Fiona's stolen version. The real-time anxiety prediction, the encrypted user protection, the peer support networks, everything working flawlessly. Mental health tech isn't about quick profits, I concluded. It's about trust, understanding, and genuine support. That's why every line of code in our app has been ethically developed and rigorously tested. The questions came rapid fire. How does this compare to Mindful Me's version? Did you develop this in response to your sister-in-law's company? What about the data privacy concerns? I handled each one carefully, watching Hannah nod approvingly from her seat. Then a familiar voice from the back. How does it feel to destroy your family over an app? The room went quiet as Fiona strode down the centre aisle, looking decidedly less polished than usual. Family, I replied calmly. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't exploit vulnerable people for profit. You're just jealous because I executed your idea better than you could. Xavier stepped forward. Ms. Fiona, I believe your lawyers advised against public appearances during an active FBI investigation. Security appeared at her elbows. As they led her out, she shouted, "This isn't over." But it was. The room had seen her desperation, her unravelling. My calm presentation contrasted perfectly with her emotional outburst. After the conference, Xavier pulled me aside. Download numbers are already exploding. We're trending nationwide. Elena hugged me tight. You did it. The right way. My phone lit up with a text from Warren. Watch the launch online. That's the app we should have built together. I'm sorry I forgot who you are. Looking out over the city from Xavier's office, I felt strangely peaceful. Revenge hadn't been the answer. Truth had been. Building something better had been. Ready to change the world? Xavier asked, holding up a champagne bottle. Actually, I smiled, I think we already have. The next week passed in a blur of interviews, user sign-ups, and watching Mindful Me's empire crumble. I was in Xavier's office reviewing analytics when Elena burst in, waving her phone. Turn on CNBC now. Xavier grabbed the remote. Fiona's face filled the screen, but not the polished, confident Fiona from the product launch. This Fiona looked haunted, standing outside the federal building surrounded by reporters. Federal charges of fraud and data privacy violations, the reporter was saying. Sources confirm that Mindful Me attempted to sell confidential mental health data to cover mounting debts. Where's Warren? I asked. Eleanor checked her phone. According to Hannah's sources, he's cooperating with the investigation, full immunity in exchange for evidence. My phone rang. Dad. Are you watching this? He asked. Yeah, you okay? Your brother's here. He'd like to see you. I looked at Xavier, who nodded encouragingly. I'll be there in 20. Dad's house felt different now. Warren sat at the kitchen table looking small and tired, while Dad stress-baked Mom's old cookie recipe. Hey, Warren said quietly. Hey, yourself. I sat across from him. Rough day. He laughed humorlessly. Rough year. The FBI has everything. The gambling debts, the offshore accounts, Fiona's emails about selling user data. She's looking at serious time. And you? Community service. Mandatory gambling addiction treatment, and I have to testify. He met my eyes. It's more than I deserve. Dad set cookies between us, slightly burned, just like Mom used to make. Your sister's app hit 100,000 downloads today. 200,000, I corrected. And the user feedback is incredible. People are actually getting help. Warren picked up a cookie, then set it down again. That's what it was always supposed to be about, wasn't it? Actually helping people? Yeah. I forgot that somewhere along the way. Got caught up in Fiona's promises of quick money, easy fixes. He pulled out his phone, showing me a text. She's still trying to blame me for everything. Classic Fiona, Eleanor said from the doorway. I hadn't even heard her arrive. The prosecutors have her dead to rights, she continued, accepting a cookie from Dad. The evidence Warren provided, plus Hannah's investigation, she's looking at 15 years minimum. My phone buzzed, Xavier sending user testimonials. People sharing how the app helped them through panic attacks, connected them with support groups, gave them hope. Show them, Elena nudged me. I passed my phone to Warren. He scrolled through the comments, his eyes getting wet. This is what you were trying to build all along, he said. Not just an app, but a community. Dad read over his shoulder. Your mother would be so proud, Thea. Of both of us, I said, surprising myself. Warren did the right thing in the end. Too late. Better late than never. A breaking news alert interrupted us. Mindful Me files for bankruptcy. CEO indicted on multiple federal charges. There it is, Elena said softly. Warren's phone exploded with messages. Fiona's lawyers quit. She's not taking it well. Are you? I asked. He considered this. Actually, yes. It feels like waking up from a nightmare I helped create. But still. Dad started cleaning up, his way of processing emotions. Warren's moving back home for a while, he said, until the legal dust settles. And after? I asked. Warren shrugged. Community service at a gambling addiction center. Try to help others avoid my mistakes. Maybe learn to code properly this time? I caught his meaning. Xavier's always looking for quality assurance testers. Someone who understands the user perspective. You'd trust me, after everything. Trust is earned, Eleanor pointed out. Seems like you're starting to earn it back. My phone buzzed again, Hannah requesting a follow-up interview. Below her message was another user testimonial. This app saved my life today. Thank you for understanding what we need. I showed it to Warren. Want to help me make it even better? He wiped his eyes. Yeah, I really do. Dad pulled us both into a hug, something he hadn't done since Mum died. Your mother always said you two were strongest together. Outside, reporters had discovered Warren's location. Camera flashes lit up the windows. Ready to face them? Elena asked. Warren straightened his shoulders. No more hiding, no more lies. We walked out together, facing the cameras as a family. Let them see the whole story. Not just the fall of Mindful Me, but the rise of something better. Something real. Ms. Thea, what's your response to Mindful Me's collapse? I looked at Warren, then back at the reporters. Sometimes destruction leads to creation. Sometimes you have to break something toxic to build something healing. Warren nodded, finally understanding. We'd lost our way, but we'd found it again. Together. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as Fiona emerged from her sentencing. I watched from across the street as she was led to a waiting car, her designer outfit replaced by something far more modest. 12 years, Warren said beside me, plus full restitution to the investors. And the users whose data she tried to sell, Elena added, checking the court documents on her tablet. She'll never work in tech again. My phone buzzed with a message from Xavier. Ready when you are. Everyone's waiting. We should go, I said. The mental health conference keynote starts in an hour. Warren adjusted his visitor badge. He'd been working as our QA tester for the past few weeks, his insights proving invaluable. Still want me there? People might not like seeing my face on stage. You're part of the story, I replied. The whole story. The conference center was packed. I spotted Hannah in the front row next to Dad, who'd insisted on coming. Xavier met us backstage. Perfect timing, he said. They just finished setting up the live demo. Warren checked the testing dashboard one last time. All systems running smoothly. We're ready. Taking the stage felt different this time. No revenge driving me, no anger fueling my words, just purpose. Mental health technology isn't about profit margins, I began. It's about trust, community, and genuine support. Today, I want to show you what that looks like in practice. The presentation flowed naturally, real users sharing their experiences, medical professionals explaining the impact, live demonstrations of our latest features. Then came the moment I'd been preparing for. And now, I said, I'd like to introduce someone who helped make this possible, though not in the way he originally intended. Warren walked on stage, nervous but determined. The audience murmured. My name is Warren, and I helped steal this app's original concept. His voice grew stronger. But more importantly, I learned from that mistake. I learned what happens when you prioritize profit over people. He pulled up our user feedback dashboard. These are real people with real struggles. They trust us with their darkest moments, their highest hopes. That trust has to be earned. The audience was silent, captivated. Today, I continued, We're announcing a partnership with the National Mental Health Alliance. Every dollar of profit above operating costs goes directly to funding free therapy sessions for users who can't afford help. The applause started slowly, then built to a roar. In the front row, Dad wiped his eyes. After the presentation, Xavier pulled me aside. The user numbers just hit 1 million. And look at this. He showed me an email from Mindspace Technologies, the company that had briefly partnered with Fiona. They wanted to acquire us. Not interested, I said immediately. Xavier grinned. Already told them no. Some things are more important than money. Eleanor appeared with Hannah, who was practically bouncing with excitement. The story just dropped. From corporate espionage to community service, how a tech betrayal led to mental health innovation. It's going viral. Warren joined us, looking at his phone. Dad's crying again. Says Mom would be proud. She would be, I agreed. Of both of us. Ms. Thea, a young woman approached, hands shaking slightly. Your app. It helped me through my darkest days. I just wanted to say thank you. As she shared her story, I watched Warren listening intently, taking notes for future improvements. He'd found his redemption in helping others avoid the darkness he'd known. Later, in Xavier's office, we gathered for a quieter celebration. Dad brought slightly burned cookies, Elena ordered pizza, and Hannah shared industry gossip about Fiona's former investors scrambling to distance themselves from the scandal. To doing things right, Xavier proposed a toast. To second chances, Warren added. To family, Dad said softly. I looked around at these people who'd helped turn betrayal into breakthrough, Xavier with his unwavering support, Eleanor with her moral compass, Hannah with her pursuit of truth, Warren with his hard-earned wisdom, and Dad with his endless supply of burnt cookies and unconditional love. My phone lit up with another user testimonial. Found hope today. Thank you for understanding. That's what it had always been about. Understanding, helping, healing. Fiona had tried to turn it into a get-rich-quick scheme, but in doing so, she'd inadvertently helped create something far more valuable. To understanding, I raised my glass, completing the toast. Outside, the city lights twinkled like stars, each one perhaps representing someone finding their way through darkness. We couldn't help everyone, but we could create tools for people to help themselves and each other. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's building something so meaningful that the original betrayal becomes just another step in the journey. Warren caught my eye and smiled. A real smile, like when we were kids sharing secrets and dreams. We'd lost our way, found it again, and built something better than either of us had imagined. That was the real victory.